Just one question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Council.
Mr. Sanyang, what was Balajase's role in the meeting? Why was he there, in other words?
Sorry?
Let me rephrase. Why was Mr. Jassy there?
Well, as I said, when I arrived at the meeting, I met him there together with the MGI representative.
Yes, but why was he there?
Well, I wouldn't know precisely because I was invited and I joined them in the meeting, and we were all in the meeting, assuming everybody who was at the meeting was invited to the meeting.
Yes, but you were invited, you attended the meeting, you heard what was said.
Yes.
Surely you formed an impression, even if no words were said.
But
why do you think he was there?
Well, I think it is to witness what was to be in the meeting.
To witness on whose behalf? You said he was introduced by Mr. Savali. How was he introduced?
I cannot recall in terms, but I think by name he was introduced, just like me and the other individual from MGI.
Mr. Sanya, I think one cannot. Yes, so the President already knew Balajase, did he not?
Yes, he did, because he was already working on a project at the State House, and I had them discuss that project with him.
So it was not necessary for, you would agree, it wasn't necessary for Mr. Sa unless he was being introduced for a particular reason. Again, in light of what I have said, how was Mr. Jassy reintroduced then to the President?
I cannot recall that precisely, but we were all introduced as people attending that meeting.
No further questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. San. You may go.
Honorable Commissioners, I call Mr. Adam Ajame at the instance of Mr. Balajase.
Adam Ajame.
commission
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the whole truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Kindly state your names, please.
My name's Adama Jame.
Where do you live?
I live in Brikama.
Where do you work?
I work in Gamtel.
In what capacity?
I work at the Department of International Operations.
Department of International
Operations.
Operations. Who is the head of department?
Currently is Mr. Keba Bojang.
Mr.
Mr. Keba Bojang.
What position do you hold there?
Sorry?
What position do you hold?
Operations.
Senior manager.
Technical operations.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
Is the system recording? How long have you been senior manager?
It's about 4 years now. I can't precisely remember, but I have to go.
Actually, you were called at the instance of Mr. Balajase, and you're the witness for Mr.
I'm not hearing well, madam.
You were called at the instance of Mr. Balajase, and you're the witness for Balajase. So, my learned friend here, Mr. Malik Bai, will take over from there.
Sorry, can you speak louder, please? Because I can't hear some of your words.
I'm saying you are the witness. You were called as a witness for Mr. Balajase.
Okay.
So, the lawyer for Mr. Balajase, who is Mr. Mbai here, will take over from you.
All right.
Thank you, Consul. Yes. Mr. Jame, my name is Malik Mbai. Like Consul said,
I can't hear you.
My name is Malik Mbai.
Malik Mbai, okay.
Malik Faham Mbai, yes. I'm the lawyer for Balajase and Mobisel Blue Ocean.
Okay.
I would like to ask you a few questions.
All right.
If you can't hear me properly, just ask me. I'll repeat my question.
Okay.
What are the responsibilities of your department?
My department is responsible for the international gateway, as the time you are referring to, and also the international bandwidth for data connectivity.
How many gateway managers have you worked with since gaining employment at Gamtel? Can you name them, please? Sorry, Honorable Chairman, I cannot hear the witness properly.
Please raise your voice. We can't hear you. Yeah.
Global Voice Group.
Thank you.
Then came System 1.
System 1. Sorry? Tel Inc. Yes.
And
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Jame, the evidence before the commission is that Mobisel Blue Ocean Wireless Company Limited and Multimedia Gateway Incorporation were managing the international gateway during MGI's tenure as gateway managers. What is your response to that? Sorry? do you know what role Multimedia Gateway Incorporation and Mobicel Blue Ocean Wireless Company Limited, what role they played during MGI's tenure as Gateway?
From Mobicel, some set of people from Mobicel we used to work with on technical matters and operations.
Mr. Jame, you just said technical matters. What do you mean by technical matters?
Technical matters in the sense that we are responsible for the equipment, the operations and maintenance of those equipment, the interconnection of those equipment are the technical and operational matters.
Okay. Now, can you qualify technical matters as actual management of the International Gateway?
No, sir.
Mr. Jame, who was monitoring and controlling the calls in and outside the International Gateway? Which company was responsible for that?
It's the gateway manager.
Can you give me the name of the company, please?
MGI.
How about Mobicel or Multimedia Gateway Incorporation?
I have no idea about that.
Who deployed the telecommunication switches for the International Gateway?
As far as I know, when the gateway management was changed to the hands of MGI, MGI in collaboration with some set of people, as I mentioned before from Mobicel, were connecting this with the GAMTEL team as well.
So can you repeat your answer, please?
Sorry, can you repeat your answer?
Can you repeat your answer, Mr. Lawyer?
Just repeat what you said.
I asked who deployed the telecommunication switches for the International Gateway.
As far as I can remember, MGI, in collaboration with some set of people from GAMTEL and Mobicel, were deploying those switches in Serekunda and Abuko.
Who was present when the deployment was made?
There were a lot of engineers that were involved in. Some were foreign, some were local engineers from GAMTEL, including myself.
Okay. Mr. Jame, the evidence before the commission is that GAMTEL members of staff did not have access to these switches. What is your response to that?
That's not right.
Sorry?
That's not right.
So who had access?
I can report that personally, I was involved in a training that MGI did in Zurich with 2 other staff of GAMTEL. And during the process of the implementation of the soft switches, we were involved in the wiring, the cabling, the installation of the servers and the switches in Serekunda and Abuko.
Okay. Was GAMTEL in a position to generate call statistics during MGI's tenure?
I have no idea.
Now, Mr. Jamil, let's move to the DPI. What do you know about the DPI, Deep Packet Inspection?
The deep packet inspection equipment was deployed by MGI at the ACE building in Brusubi.
Okay. Which company implemented that project? Because it's, the evidence before the commission is that Mobicel and Multimedia implemented that project.
As far as I can remember, there was an American company Called Affirm Incorporation.
American company.
Called Affirmed.
So can you please spell it, please?
AFIRMED.
Affirmed.
Affirmed, yes.
Affirmed. Okay. And what was their role in that, in respect of that project?
They were the engineers that were coming on board.
Sorry, can you spell the name of the American company?
AFIRMED. IRMED. Affirmed.
IRMED.
Just like confirmation or affirmation.
Affirmed International Corporation.
And you said they're based in the United States.
Sorry?
You said it's a company, it's an American company.
A US company called Affirmed.
Okay, so what was their role in respect of that project?
Actually, the engineers were coming for the implementation of that project, as far as I can remember.
Okay.
Get your answer. They what?
The engineers from Affirmed. We are
The
coming
engineers came from
Affirmed.
The engineers.
Yes, we are coming back and forth for the implementation of the DPI project.
And how about Mobicel Blue Ocean Wireless Company and Multimedia? What was their role in that, in respect of that project?
What I could see during the project implementation is that the connections and the interface configurations were done both by Gamtel and Mobicel Blue staff.
So which company was the lead company in respect of implementation of that DPI project?
As far as I can tell this commission, I know of MGI as the responsible company installing or putting the system in place at ease.
Okay. How about between Affirm and Mobicel, which one was the lead company?
All these stakeholders, as I said, both Gamtel, Mobicel Blue and Affirmed were participating in the project in different layers or levels.
That's all for this witness, Honorable Chairman. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
Yes.
Well,
Any more questions?
Yes, I do have questions. Mr. Jame,
Yes.
you said you had no idea whether Gamtel could generate data from the gateway. Why don't you have any idea? Did I
Yes.
hear you right? Did
Yes.
I hear you right? Yes.
Yes, I said so because the gateway manager was primarily responsible for the inbound and outbound CDR generation or output from those switches.
That is not my question.
Sorry?
That is not my question. You said you worked in the International Operations Department.
Yes.
What is the purpose of the international operations in terms of the gateway?
If I can give you a rundown of how the international gateway was being taken or been managed from one gateway keeper to another, is that it's a contract that I know.
Mr. Jame,
Yes.
what is the role of your department
Yes.
in relation to the gateway itself? What is your role?
Our role is for my department, that my department head can tell the overall role, but as far as engineering is concerned, is for us to manage and operate the international gateway.
Are you not supposed to monitor the gateway, the traffic in the gateway?
That's right.
To do that, are you not required to have access to the data that is generated by whoever is managing the gateway?
Access to data comes in different
Please answer
levels.
my question. in order to monitor the gateway, is Gamtel International Operations Department not required to have access to the data?
They are required to have the access to
Yes.
data on
So
different levels.
did you have access to the data that was being data meaning the traffic going in and out of the gateway?
Technically, if you talk of international gateway data, you are talking about the CDRs,
Mr.
called detailed records.
Listen, we are not technicians.
Okay.
All we know is that you had a gateway manager, you had an international gateway which generated traffic going in and out. Gamtel was supposed to monitor the traffic. Did your department have access to the data generated by the gateway, that is traffic going in and out?
No, madam.
Thank you. Now, you said Gamtel participated in the installation of the switches,
That's correct.
and so did Mobicel. Now, after the switches were installed, did your department have access to the switches?
Yes,
Okay, what was your role as far as the switches were concerned?
our role was to see that the links are okay, are up, and the operations and maintenance of those links.
You were maintaining the switches.
When you talk about maintenance,
Gamtel, I'm talking about Gamtel. Was Gamtel the one carrying out the maintenance of the switches?
maintenance in the, no, when you talk of maintenance, in technical terms, we have different layers or levels of maintenance. That does happen to any equipment. You have first level, second level, you can go on and on like that.
How many levels did you have
We
in
had
relation to the
the
switches?
physical connectivity.
How many levels did you have in relation to the switches? How many layers?
We can say we have about 1, 2, or 3 layers in terms of the access.
3 layers.
2 or 3, 1, 2, 3, or 3 layers in terms of access to those systems. What you call layer 1, for example, is the cabling. The cabling. Layer 2 may go into the configuration. Layer 3 may go to the routing and other stuff.
What
like
is
that.
layer 2?
Layer 2 may be for health check to see that the kicks are okay, the E1s are okay. Those are
What
the
is layer 3?
Layer 3 may be advanced routing, internal checks, health and checks and balances. In
Which
the
layer
system.
was Gamtel responsible for or had access to?
We had access to the first, second, and third layers in the switch.
Okay, let's be very specific. Did Gamtel have the authority to switch off, if I may call it that, and switch on the switches?
We don't have that powers.
Who had that power?
The gateway manager.
The gateway manager, sitting in Switzerland.
Not really.
Who had power on the ground for turning on and off the switches?
Let me give you this scenario.
No, I don't want a scenario. I want
Okay.
an answer.
Technically, if you want someone to support you on something, we are sent emails to do some maintenance, for
Mr.
example.
Jame, you said there were 3 layers. We understand that.
Yes.
But somebody had authority to switch on and off. It
Yes.
wasn't you, you said. Who had the authority on the ground to do that?
On the ground to do we are not given that authority to switch.
Who had the authority?
I don't know, sir, madam.
You don't know. Why don't you know you had access to all 3 layers?
If
Who
I-
could go there and turn things off? Who?
It is only when you are authorized to do some certain actions on those equipment that you can do it.
That's
Not
why,
even all
Mr.
engineers
Jame,
can.
I don't want too much talk. Just this is a simple answer. You agree MGI is sitting in Switzerland, right? The MGI is an office in Switzerland. Do you agree?
Yes. But
Now, the gateway
Which-
had components here in Gambia.
which MGI are you referring to?
Oh, how many MGIs were there?
I know of only one MGI.
So why are you asking me that question?
Yes.
Why
MGI
are
you
you
are referring
asking
to.
me?
Yeah,
Why are
just
you
ask me
asking
here
that
where
question?
which MGI and Mobicel Blue is what you are referring to, or which MGI?
Okay.
I didn't get that. Can you say it again?
I mean, she's referring to MGI. And in the questions by the lawyer was asking me that MGI and Mobicel Blue were active, whether they are active in the installation of those switches. I said yes.
Just repeat the answer you gave.
Sorry
That's
to
all,
interrupt.
Chairman.
Sorry to interrupt.
So when I talk, I have to hear myself.
It gets too close to the mic.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Don't be too close to the mic.
I don't hear myself, this is why.
Yeah, I just want for clarification
Okay.
to ask this question. According to you, who was MGI?
We had MGI in Gambia.
Sorry?
MGI is the gateway keeper that I know of.
It's
MGI is the gateway keeper that I know of.
yes, and do you know who the people of MGI were? Can you name one or two people?
MGI, I know of their CEO.
Sorry?
I know their CEO,
And who was their CEO?
Ilya.
So when you talk of MGI, you mean MGI Swiss.
The gateway keeper, yes.
And they are the Tubabs who came from Switzerland.
Yes.
Very well. You may continue.
So, Mr. Jame, are you saying Ilya came to install the switches?
No, actually.
So who installed the switches? When you said there were three of you, MGI, you said Mobicel and Gamtel. Who represented MGI?
They are engineers from Swiss.
Okay. What was Mobicel's role?
Mobicel was a technical lead, a technical partner or technical consultant for the implementation.
Did the engineers stay to implement the gateway?
Which engineers?
The MGI engineers you said came.
Yes.
They stayed.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. How long did they stay?
I can't remember how long they were here.
Were they here all the time that MGI was managing the gateway?
No.
So who was supervising or who was implementing the gateway on behalf of MGI?
I know that Mobicel was a technical consultant for MGI on the international gateway technical matters.
What other matters were there as far as you were concerned?
As far as I know is the engineering aspect that I can report.
So the engineering, when you say technical, you mean the engineering aspect?
Right.
And that was the responsibility of Mobicel?
Yes.
There is a company called Multimedia Gateway, which is also MGI. Do you know that company?
No, I don't know.
Multimedia Gateway, that is a Gambian company. Do you know it?
I don't know. I don't know Multimedia Gateway.
The DPI, you said it was installed by an American company. And Mobicel, what role did Mobicel play as far as the DPI was concerned?
Mobicel's role was the technical connectivity and the installation.
Connectivity.
Yes.
After the engineers left, what role did Mobicel Blue play?
The same as I said before.
What did you
Technical
say
matters.
before? Sorry?
Technical.
Technical. They continued to manage the DPI.
With Gamtel. Technical aspects regarding the DPI with Gamtel.
What was Gamtel's role?
Gamtel's role then was because operators were not directly sitting at ACE building in Brusubi. So as a result, all the connectivities from ACE building to their headquarters, the dark fiber connections were all been sought by Gamtel.
What
in
did
that respect.
What did Mobicel do as far as the DPI was concerned? Their
role in the DPI implementation was technical, as I said, that technical in the an interface, for example, Mobicel will provide that for them, and when they need interconnections, GAMTEL will provide that aspect of the project.
Did MGI have an office, MGI Swiss?
Not to my knowledge.
Just going back to the switches, my last question. Did GAMTEL or your department have authority to switch on or switch off the switches that were installed at the International Gateway?
No, and I can say yes.
Sorry?
No, and I can also say yes.
All right. No and yes.
Yes. No, in the matter that, as I explained before, some critical interventions that had to be done couldn't be done by GAMTEL, apart from the authority of the gateway keeper. And so, yes, certain diagnostics or troubleshooting could be done by GAMTEL staff without the intervention of MGI.
Mr. Jam, I didn't ask you that. Could GAMTEL switch off, disconnect, or switch on, reconnect?
Madam, technically, as I said, we can connect, we can disconnect, but it has different layers of responsibility.
Okay, let me put it this way. The International Gateway is a gateway where all the traffic goes through, right?
Right.
Could GAMTEL connect the country to the gateway without MGI?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all for the witness.
Honorable Chairman, I have one question for re-examination. Honorable Chairman.
But I've told you,
yes.
Time is limited. I said
Very well, Mr. Chairman.
Time is limited.
Very well, Mr. Chairman. I'm grateful.
We can give you 5 minutes. If not, we'll adjourn until next time.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, just 1 minute will do. Did Mobicel have the authority to switch off the gateway switches?
Not to my knowledge.
No further questions.
What was the question?
So, Mr. Jame, if
Yes.
Mobicel didn't have the authority, who had?
MGI.
Thank you. One final one. Did MGI switch it off before leaving, or did they switch it off from Switzerland remotely? How were the switches turned off? Do you have any knowledge of that?
Which incident are you referring to? Because I didn't understand where you're coming from.
All right, we're talking about putting the gateway on and off. You just confirm Mobicel couldn't. They didn't have the authority. MGI had. So the question is, did MGI require on-the-ground presence to switch it off, or they can do it remotely from Switzerland?
Yes and no. I'm talking to you on technical terms. There are instances where you can remotely log onto systems and switch them off. But to remove something from the power, for example, from the UPS or from the power socket, you need a physical intervention. This is why most of the questions I'm saying yes or no, or yes and no. Welcome, thank you.
Very well, we'll rise now. We'll be back on Monday at 10 o'clock.